Well,
We loaded one episode and then I don't remember the rest. But
We
Spotify is
did.
capturing our video, so I guess it's fine.
we did. We are live.
All right.
Cameo's jumping in unexpectedly. Thank you for jumping in with us today. I'm moving our nameplates around. As you can see right now, we are a man down. Wow. But he's
Samson said
able
he
to
doesn't believe in us.
join us from the grave. He's over there in chat. Thank you very much, Samson, for jumping in. We're going to try to hot swap him in here when he's available, but thank you guys for coming on a Tuesday night. My name is O'Shaughnessy, joined, as you are well aware by now, with my good friends Just Ramblin' and Foo Money. We are missing one Samson for right now, but he should be joining us shortly. That's not going to impede us catching you up on the week and a half, 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks because we were down a cameo last week. So we'll catch you up in all the news. A lot has happened. Big releases, Barbie, Oppenheimer, obviously being our big focal point tonight, and the general cinematic landscape on the whole. But aside from that, we've seen a ton of casting information. We've seen, I don't even know what's going on with the DCEU right now. I'm sure we have some stuff to talk about there, but let's...
It's basically, why not Snyder Cut?
Oh, and Twitter is no longer Twitter. Twitter is now X. So, if you're cataloging this, if you're listening to this in the future, this is when that episode took place.
Yeah.
Twitter
Kingdom
is
Hearts
X.
has taken over.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah. This is the darkest timeline officially. All right. Without further ado, Foo, hit me with the news.
All right, so we're gonna have you guys are gonna get to see a cool part of our cameos process, where we have to figure out when the last time we had a cameos run is, and then I get to pick that date and move forward. So, does anyone on the team know that piece of information? This is exclusive for our viewers.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe to Patreon for this exclusive content. July 11th, I think, was where you want to start from.
That's great. Thank you so much. And for those who are watching, if you decide to make your own podcast, please, listen to the way that we all kind of communicate with each other as a team and collaborate, and and get inspired by that. So, anyway, so hot off the presses, we have some data. So I'm just going to kind of read through things. We're going to do Spitfire, and then we'll try to save the big topics for later. So real quick, the price tag on Secret Invasion was $212 million. We don't usually get price tags for Disney shows, so this was a nice little thing to see. And man, is that expensive for the piece of crap that it is. I hope that Samuel L. Jackson got paid. Anyway, any comments before we move on?
I'm surprised they would release that information.
Was it
leaked.
Released or leaked? Yeah.
Leaked. Yeah.
Oh, leaked. Never mind.
Yeah.
That makes it even bigger.
Yup. Looking at the writer strike and the Screen Actors Guild strike, we since last time we actually didn't talk about that, but Screen Actors Guild went on strike. The hope was to starve out the writers until October, until they're broke. But it looks like with the Screen Actors Guild going on strike, it's going to cost a lot of money to the studios. So TBD on what's going to happen there. But people are striking. It's funny. There was one story where NBC cut down all of the trees across the street from them, so that the strikers would have to strike in the sun. And they did a bunch of stuff. Yeah, this is so old petty. School 1950s labor busting, union busting crap.
Yeah, that's definitely some rich hoity-toity motherfucker sitting up in the suite, and it's cut down those trees. And they
That's
were
something Mr. Burns from The Simpsons would do.
Yeah, that is something.
That's exactly it.
Scrooge McDuck, Mr. Burns vibes. So wait, that happened during this last writer strike, or that was a previous one? The ongoing writer strike right now? They did that?
Yeah, this just happened. So.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's crazy.
So petty.
2023, everyone. Moving on. For those who do keep touch, we all know that Godzilla is based out of Toho Studios in Japan. Not the Americanized Fat Godzilla, but the original ones. There is a new Godzilla -1 movie coming out on December 1st. These are always bangers. So if you're even slightly into Godzilla, go check this out. It's not going to be, I don't know if it's going to be in theaters here in the US or not, but definitely get a glimpse of it if it is. It is something special.
Why
I
did I
promise
think
you,
it
you won't
was
be remiss
called?
on it.
What wasn't it called? Godzilla King of Monsters or something like that, or is that
There's
separate?
also a new Godzilla movie that came. That's the trailer that came out for here in the U.S. as part of the Godzilla Kong shared universe series. I'm gonna go watch it. This is like my Fast and Furious. I enjoy it immensely.
Fast and Furious is your
Totally
Fast and
agree.
Furious.
Yes, it
You're the one
absolutely
who
is.
stands Fast and Furious. So okay. Godzilla King of Monsters is the, what is it, distributed by Universal or something like that? It's the American
Mhm.
Kong.
Godzilla.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. For some reason, I thought that one was the Japanese one. So you're saying the Japanese one by Toho Studios is Godzilla -1?
Yeah, that'll be coming out in December 1st. So I don't know if it's going to be here in the US or not. Whenever it does, please check it out. Support the Toho releases. They're
Are they
amazing.
still doing the old school puppets, like the 1950s puppets, or have they upgraded
I don't
to
think
CG?
so. I think it's CG, but they do use like classic techniques, so it still has the Godzilla feel. So, they still do like the high res capture, like it's whatever they used to do to kind of give it that like not hokey feeling, but like a traditional
Campy.
Godzilla feel. It's not going to be
Campy.
like shitty Japanese CGI, right? It's going to be like good stuff.
I'm curious. And the Japanese Godzillas, do they have like a heavy focus on the human element, the same way the American films do, where it's like 90% focus on the humans with like glimpses into the big monster battles, but then
No.
okay.
No one cares about the love story between Quicksilver and Wanda.
Completely agree. That shit was so annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not the case. So yeah, again, lots of discussion here about the ongoing Screen Actors Guild strike. So if you haven't got a chance to check out Fran Drescher's speeches, go check him out. Support the Screen Actors Guild, because ultimately they're trying to get rid of all extra actors, and a lot of the actors you see nowadays started off as extras. So if that path doesn't exist, essentially we're moving towards almost a fully automated AI casting, acting, everything. So movies and television as you know it are just going to become a jumble of things, and 90% of viewers won't care, and it won't matter, and the whole industry as we know it will change completely. So yeah, support the unions. Anthony Carrigan has been cast as Metamorpho in Superman Legacy. Not the character that I thought I would see in Superman Legacy, but very excited. What a fit. For those who don't know, he has alopecia. I don't know if that's how you say it correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
And he was fantastic in some of the shows he was in. I can't remember the name of it, but he did a stellar job. So I'm looking forward to him bringing his experience into kind of this role and really giving that character life. Because for those who haven't watched the Justice League show, the original the cartoon from the 90s or 2000s, go check it out. There's an episode of Metamorpho, his origin story. It's a great episode. He's friends with Jon Stewart, and kind of the back and forth that they have. It's like, what did JL do afterwards? He became like a Green Lantern and lived the life, and Metamorpho was working in the corporate world, and he didn't like it. They were all jealous of each other, and they had a girl that they both kind of liked, and it was a whole thing. So it was a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll see him and maybe JL too, or GL. So moving on, there was a new trailer for Outlaw Johnny Black. For those who don't know, that is a movie coming out that you definitely want to check out. So it's
by the dude that did whatchamacallit?
What's that movie?
Not Kung Fu Hustle. Why
Was it
why
Black Dynamite?
Black Dynamite. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Kung Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle. Black Dynamite.
Go watch Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer. Those are great movies too.
Amazing.
Yeah. The trailer for that looked really good. Again, talk about campy, very campy, but like also like ultra violent. And yeah,
it's gonna be great. So definitely check it out when it comes out. More Superman news. So James Gunn clarified that the universe that they're going to be starting out in Superman Legacy, heroes have existed for a while. So we're trying to figure out kind of where Superman has been part of that, I guess, and it's still unclear. But this is a new take. We haven't really seen that. We've always seen the origin stories. If Uncle Ben dies one more time, basically, has been the tagline for most superhero films so far. So it's a nice take.
Yeah, I feel like studios have caught on to that, with the Spider-Verse thing. I think they made light of it. They were like, let's do this one more time. And then obviously with the Sony Spider-Man movies, you know, since you talked about Uncle Ben, they just skipped the origin story for that. It is going to be interesting though, because I feel like in the DC universe, Superman is always the first superhero, and then everybody else comes out afterwards. Sort of like how Iron Man came out, and then everybody was like, "Oh, I'm a superhero too." You know, they came out of the woodwork. That's how I've always pictured Superman being. Like he's the first, and then he's the catalyst. He's the invitation, right, for the other super people. So yeah,
Originally, I thought
it's gonna be
I
interesting.
thought that was going to be the exact same way they were going to do it with him being the first. But I like this approach because it allows the original JSA, that consists of like Alan Scott, Jay Garrick, Power Girl, to exist in like the 60s and 70s era, and then they give rise to the generation that we know with like Supes, Wonder Woman, Batman, and I originally thought that like that there would be just him being the origin again, but when James Gunn mentioned in an interview that he's going to be seeing a lot of these characters that are popping up, like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl, as like colleagues, co-workers. So there's going to be pre-established relationships in this universe. It's not going to be like Superman's first foray as the big hero.
How do you think they're gonna play that with, because Superman's Superman, right? Like he's the ultimate superhero. He's always sort of defeated the other. He's been in a weight class of his own, right? So is it gonna be all these other superheroes, or like who's this new kid? And then it's like One Punch Man showing up and just fucking demolishing shit, and everybody's like, "What?" Or is it gonna be?
He's going to be 30 in this movie, so if he hadn't done anything till then, he's kind of a shitty Superman.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just curious how they play that. Like how
You see a comet falling from the sky, and Superman just looks the other way, like I'm not helping.
I feel like we're gonna come in like halfway through a story. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like a meta narrative that has to deal with like ideological struggles, meaning like how best to be a hero. So it's like because of like Zack Snyder films and The Boys and all these like Injustice, we've seen people see Superman as like this hyper. They want him to be like hyper violent and aggressive and broody, but that's not Superman at all. I think it's gonna be more like one side saying like the Authority, if that team is actually in this movie, as rumors suggest, that they come along and they say things like, "Oh, heroes should be aggressive. They should be observe capital punishment because that takes away the threat." But then Superman comes along and he's this more peaceful entity, and he's like, "Yes, you can fight. You can be aggressive in your own way, but you got to give people a chance. You got to give them hope." And that's a Superman we haven't seen since like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
I want there to be like Superman. I want them to bring up that there's a panel in one of the comics where it's like, they find out that Superman kills something or somebody, and then it's like, damn, like I thought you had a no-kill rule. He's like, no, that's Batman. I never kill because it's never really necessary for me, but I don't have a rule about it. And I was
that
like,
would be a
whoa.
totally different direction than what just Ramblin said, because like that would be that's the twist at the end. That's the after credits scene.
But that's when they did. I think it was with the All-Star Superman. I'm not sure if that was that one with the Authority, whatever the animated one is. He makes it seem like they killed the Authority.
Yeah.
And Manchester was like, "What is your problem? Like, stop doing that." So if they throw that line in there, but then he actually didn't kill them, and it's like, I was just teaching you a lesson, that'd be great.
Yeah, he said, "This is what could happen if I were the type to kill." And he's like, "Luckily for you and villains like you, I don't observe that."
Yeah, I feel like we have the last time that we saw that in the DC universe was with Christopher Nolan's Batman, where what's his name just wouldn't kill the Joker, even though it would have solved all the problems.
Injustice.
Yeah. It's a really cool ideological struggle between like the Justice League, because you have like Superman and Batman who don't kill, then you have Wonder Woman who's like, "I'm gonna stab everything within a mile radius," and then Justice League, Green Lantern, who kind of flip flops between the two. So it'll be cool to see if that plays out in the DCU.
Yeah, we'll see how it all works out. Quickly moving on. Iman Vellani, who plays Miss Marvel, will be co-writing the new Miss Marvel comic called Miss Marvel: The New Mutant. For those who don't know, spoiler alert, close your ears in 3, 2, 1. Miss Marvel died in the comic series. So
shit. I didn't
they're bringing her back as a mutant, because Miss Marvel was always intended to be a mutant, not an Inhuman. And part of that is because of fucking
Marvel wanted to make more comic books, and
it's corporate synergy.
They couldn't shoehorn any more mutants into X-Men, so they were like, "These are alien mutants. The Kree made them." It's such a janky fucking story, and some cool characters came out of it, but man, some of those B-list Inhumans are like Get the fuck out of here, Minotaur, man. Whatever the fuck. Like, what is his name? Gorgon? Like, there's some really shitty Inhumans.
Isn't the Inhumans canon to the MCU as an actual television show in the MCU? I think that's what it was, right?
I don't know if they ever admitted that. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon to the MCU.
Yeah. But I think it was the Inhumans was like a TV show in the MCU.
It was a terrible TV show.
Yeah, but I think that was ABC when it was still licensed and things were gray. But I think like the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
the incident.
There was like Marvel, and then there were Marvel Studios that Kevin Feige took over.
In the same way that like Hulu still has rights to make some offshoot stuff. And I mean, now that the multiverse, and then the Hitmonkey, whatever it's called, things that could like exist now that the multiverse is a household name, they can just basically do whatever they want. Anything can be canon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only reason they pushed the Inhumans in the beginning was because they didn't have the film rights to X-Men, and they didn't want to prop up Fox's productions.
Which hurt X-Men comics for a long time, by the way, because they stopped making them.
Exactly.
So quickly moving on, we're going to skip some stuff here just in lieu of time. GTA 6, there was a leak. A hacker leaked over 90 clips and has been deemed psychiatrically unfit to stand trial.
Oh, I thought something else happened. Yeah. That happened a while ago. The leaker, that was almost a year ago now, I think. But it was some teenager.
He just got sentenced, or to nothing, essentially.
GTA 6 coming 2030.
I think that would align better if, like, it was like GTA 5 online, because that shit's never gonna fucking end. But they'll shut it down. They'll charge you $40 for GTA 6 online. They're gonna re-release it like
some
Skyrim.
Legacy bonuses for being a member of GTA 5 online or something like that.
As much as I want to see GTA 6, like they're making like $1 billion a year, so it's like, where's the real incentive to shut that down and move on?
Well, the incentive is to sell them a new product that people have to buy a bunch of new stuff. Like they have whales, you know what I mean? Like they have,
of course.
like all that $1 billion is generated off of probably like 100 people. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean?
No, it's not.
Those people will move over to GTA 6's model with a whole new slew of things to buy for sure.
Yeah.
So The Flash will end its theatrical run with a lower domestic box office than Green Lantern. Always fun.
Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern. Let's say what it is.
Ryan Reynolds says something in the movie once they go back to production, which is on pause now. Probably for the best, since he couldn't improv. So
yeah.
But yeah, Mission Impossible has grossed $235 million in the first 5 days. Well deserved. I heard it was fan-freaking-tastic. So if you haven't checked out the new Mission Impossible, go check it out. It's a part 1 of 2, and it should be the last Mission Impossible. So, I'm assuming it's
looking his age. If you see some pictures of him, I'm kind of glad that this is a finale, because I'm sure they did a great job of putting him in the makeup and the filters and all the shit that they did to make him look like not in the step stool.
The perspective manipulation.
Yeah, it's like the Lord of the Rings filming where they had to do like this perspective.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, it looks like Microsoft Activision, there's a bunch of news. So they won the FTC battle. They haven't won all the global versions of it, so it's still in the works. And they came to an agreement with PlayStation around Call of Duty. So
10 years.
TBD there.
All right, see what I mean here? Samsung's in the mix. He's pushing me out of my own box. All right, so hold on.
The whole thing.
We're gonna switch over. We're going 4 cams. Ooh, now me and Just Rambling are sharing the screen.
I'm so sorry.
Whoop.
I'm so sorry.
And look we're all in the right place again.
That was smooth.
You were destined to be here.
Right.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry for the delay.
Samson, we were talking through the subject that you care the most about, which is the Activision Blizzard Microsoft deal. Because
I can just leave it.
Okay, see you later. Yeah, so I can't believe that happened since the last time we recorded. I feel like that was forever ago. Last that I knew about so to catch you up, Sam, they got approval from the FTC, which was probably the biggest hurdle, but now they have to go back to the EU and appeal some of the decisions that were made over there. But I think that those were moving pretty swiftly. So
also, wasn't part of that a commitment to keep those Activision games cross-platform.
Specifically Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
So the interesting thing here is that the original agreement that expired like a week before they got it in signed, they had to redo it. The original agreement said an undisclosed amount of games, but including Call of Duty, had to be available indefinitely some period of time. The revised deal just says Call of Duty. Like PlayStation basically got shafted out of Diablo, World of Warcraft, whatever, StarCraft, whatever else they're going to be put out. Candy Crush. PlayStation has no
if you're playing Candy Crush on your PlayStation, you have problems. Go see a therapist.
Dude, don't judge it. Don't knock it till you rock it. I play Candy Crush in 8K, 120 frames per second.
Weird, man.
If you play on the PlayStation 5, it's still going to drop frames.
Yeah. All right.
There's rumors of a Pro coming out, and apparently they're going for optimization of FPS, which is a big deal.
Yes.
And they might throw on the 8K tag just to attract, buyers.
They'll
but the dev kits have been going out for a year.
8K, it'll run at 15 frames per second in 8K.
Basically.
That's what I want. I want that Pro model of the PS5 that can
because
give me that
PlayStations have
60.
been overheating and like melting. Because all of these AAA games that have been coming out are pushing the limits 100% of the PlayStation. So they're like taking everything it's got. Full Kojima style. He used up every gigabyte in that Blu-ray. I still remember.
That's one of really quick aside since you mentioned Kojima and we're talking about video games. The Metal Gear Solid 4, which a lot of people think is the best Metal Gear, not necessarily myself included, but damn, it was a really good game. Only ever came out on the PS3 because it was so terribly optimized. It was basically like you can emulate pretty much 95 to 99% of the PS3 catalog. You can go online. Not that I'm endorsing this, but you could go online and download pretty much any PS3 game and play it on your computer if you bought a computer in the last 5 years. That is not the case with Metal Gear Solid 4 because it was such a patchwork of coding and like the way that they had to make it work on that system. It never you can't find it anywhere else. It never came out on the PC, never came out on the Xbox. It was just that one console. They're finally talking about maybe being able to get it onto new consoles, which would be exciting because I loved Metal Gear Solid 4.
I imagine when they made Metal Gear Solid 4, it's like Kojima's like, all right, here it is, in like a whiteboard, like with Charlie Day. It's like, this is what I want to do. And the devs are like, are you sure? Like they have to ask that question every morning. Like, are you sure you want to do this? This is like like a whole game's worth of code for one cutscene. Yes, I need to do this. All right, this is what we're doing. And that was like years of work is what happened. Yeah.
I'm just picturing the gif of like Zach Galifianakis with the letters or the numbers and shit going up in his head as he's like trying to do equations. Yeah. The game was brilliant, but it was a shit ton of systems on systems, and the game looked really fucking slick for being a PS3 game. So
yeah, we'll see how they do Psycho Mantis too, because you had to change from controller 1 to 2. Which you can't really do in the PS5, but I'm sure they'll adapt it somehow. Anyway, moving on. So we got a couple trailers that came out. We'll just rock through them. The story trailer for Spider-Man 2, the video game, has been released. Go check it out. It is awesome. A lot of Venom stuff, and the word on the street is Venom is hairy. So we'll see about all of that. That means it's not
Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think said Harry.
No, he did Harry as in Osborn, not Harry as in
not like Venom
furry.
is
Chewbacca Harry.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I thought you meant. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, strange.
Is that those tendrils are?
Yeah. So apparently there's been a leak of the toys that they're gonna do Venom with Iron Spider. What's it called? It looked really cool. Some people were upset, but they're idiots. So if you feel that way, just understand what category you're in. Moving on, the Marvels trailer dropped. I think this is trailer number 2, or the first one was a teaser, maybe. It's looking great. Yeah, it's looking great. I'm excited about the Marvels. I think Iman Vellani is going to steal the show, and even what's her name, Brie Larson, might be able to actually do a good job this time because she's not going to have shit writing. So it's going to be something good. So I'm excited about the movie. I'm excited to see how they tie them all in together. The whole schema of how it's going to work, how their powers get intertwined, is looking great. So I'm here for it.
I don't like that.
How their powers are going to intertwine?
It's a big MacGuffin. It's the goober, right? It's what they the Chekhov's gun. They have to have it all together.
Since when are Captain Marvel's powers light based?
Huh? They're not. I think they're just. I think they're stupid.
They're
energy
gamma.
manipulation.
It's gamma.
The trailer said our powers are light based. It's intertwining our light based powers. So already I'm like, I don't even like
that's just the MCU playing fast and loose with canon, as always, just to facilitate the plot.
Y'all just hold your ears during that part and then just move on and enjoy the rest of the movie.
I think it's pretty cool because it's like, you know how it's going to be. It's like at first it's going to be a problem, and then it's going to grow into like the one way they can solve the problem. Like the big bad, they're going to use it to like switch places mid-battle and everything. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I like how Jake Gyllenhaal's stuff was just glossed over, whatever he said during that stupid movie. Just, if we can let that slide because, Spider-Man, then we can let this slide.
I like that movie, though.
Terrible.
No way.
Wait, who's the villain in
From Home?
Marvel's?
Darben, Kree.
Okay.
It's Loki's wife in real life, Tom Hiddleston's wife.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
So I thought. Never mind. I was like, she's a black woman, right?
Yes,
she's married to a black woman. Yes. So I haven't actually seen. I didn't recognize her in the trailer.
They creed her up with the whole get up with the Ronin garb.
Yeah.
Does she have
I don't know if they're gonna do like the lines. She's not a cultist. She's just a normal Kree person.
Yeah.
So
I think she's like a general or something.
Yeah. I don't think she has a hammer.
They call her the Annihilator. Gosh, they killed your AI. Ooh. Yeah. Invincible season 2 trailer came out. Check it out. If you haven't seen the first season of Invincible, go watch it. It is amazing.
I saw a fight scene for season 2 also with the little what's the pink girl? The little Adam Eve.
Yeah.
She's fighting these like 3 dudes on a bridge. Oh, this looks amazing.
There's like a background episode on her that I think is available right now on Prime. It's sort of like a setup for this season.
That's why, because my friend was like, it came out. I was like, no, it didn't. It comes out in November.
Yeah, it's like a sneak peek, and it's like basically just a background episode on her.
All right, I'm definitely watching that. It looks amazing. I'm excited.
Yeah, from that fight scene, I feel like she could solo a few Green Lanterns, if we're being honest.
Green Lantern, her powers are not the same.
She's not the same, but she uses them a lot more clever than Green Lanterns do.
Yeah.
It's like Green Lanterns just make giant fists and frying pans.
Except John Stewart. John Stewart's making guns and rockets.
See, uncreative.
So I'm a military man. Here's an AK.
All the power in the universe, and you make a Gatling gun.
Somehow the bullets leave and like fire because doesn't everything have to be connected to it? I don't know.
Yeah,
they explained it in the Justice League, like how his powers work
and loose.
Like that.
They're fast and loose with it. Yeah. What else?
So we have some other trailers. Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match. That is an animated movie coming out. Check it out when it comes through. Those are always pretty good.
Very good.
We also have the Boys Gen 5. Anyone know more about that? I saw that trailer.
Generation V.
Generation V, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't watch The Boys, so I don't know the difference.
That's why, V is the drug that gives people powers.
Oh, you gotta watch The Boys, dude. That show is amazing.
It's really good.
But I'm gonna eventually just binge it.
I
don't know about this Gen V though. We'll see. I'm gonna watch it because I love
anybody
The Boys.
watch the spin-off cartoon about Homelander?
It was great.
Yeah,
cartoon was great. Okay. And it's not just Homelander; it's like a collection of cartoons.
Okay.
One of the episodes is Homelander, but it's really good. So, in that spirit, since the spin-off cartoons are really good, I'm gonna watch the spin-off show. But we'll see. I don't want it to be like some CW superhero show. And that's
right.
Natural, I don't think it's going to be.
I was about to say that would be a huge change of direction if they went from The Boys to a CW primetime show.
I know, but I'm always weary. Yeah, my bad.
Sorry, I'm distracted. One of my dogs just farted.
Is that a news update?
Yeah. Justice League Warworld trailer came out. I don't know if we talked about that last time. It's looking pretty good.
It does look good.
It takes me so long to get used to the animated style shifts. So when they switched from the Bruce Timm to the DCAU style, it took me forever to buy into it. I'm like, oh gosh, this sucks. My eyes are just used to a certain thing. And then finally, I got used to the DCAU after like 10 movies, and now we're moving to this other style that looks like the animators from Archers got high when they made it.
What, the Tomorrowverse style?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I'm not a fan.
Is it the same
Like
one as
it.
the Adult Swim that you guys were watching?
No, that's anime
Nah.
style.
Yeah. So there's a Tomorrowverse in the DC animated universe right now, and it's like the Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow. There's a Batman movie. There's a Flash, Wonder Woman movie. It's like a Flashpoint movie. I don't mind the art style though. It still looks good to me, and the stories are interesting. There's a Legion of Superheroes movie also with Supergirl.
That did look good.
Yeah, it was good. I'm maybe it's because I'm used to the art style. I've watched all the movies that they put out, so I'm kind of good. I'm enjoying it.
I didn't watch One Piece for the longest time because of the art style, but
All right, here you go. Don't disrespect One Piece.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to get on.
His style early in the manga versus later on was a big shift. So eventually, like, he found kind of his bearings. He played a little fast and loose with sizes and like
Sizes and breasts.
Yeah, like people
Not me. That 2-year skip. What happened?
So give her tits so Sean will watch.
Yeah. Did this get like
and he
really
explained
good
this, like-
lately, or what happened? Yeah.
It's like, I wanted to draw her that way. I wanted to see it that way, so I figured others would. Like, that's literally what he said. Anyway, so that's it for news. I skipped over some stuff. Does anyone want to bring up anything that I didn't mention?
Did you mention the One Piece?
That Mihawk is stronger.
No, not that. The One Piece.
Monster. Yeah. So
Monster.
there's going to be a one shot for One Piece Monster that's going to be turned into animation. It's based on the story of Ryuma, the samurai. So it's going to be very Edo era, traditional kind of style stuff, which should be fun, right? I mean, those are always great. For those who don't know, when these like big, what they called mangakas, I think is the otaku term. Whenever they like write these kind of one shots or stuff, they're usually really good. Like Tite Kubo's Zombie Powder was fantastic. So like, seeing these short stories and seeing them kind of pull together are always fun. So check it out whenever it comes through. We'll tell you about it.
And for context, Ryuma is the zombie that gave Zoro that one sword in Thriller Bark, if you don't remember who that is. So there's a whole manga one shot that's based on him in his life.
Was he not related to Brooke? Was that a different thing?
In the same
his
shadow was in Brooks.
Gotcha. That's
Brooks, sorry, Brooks' shadow was in him.
Gotcha.
So he's the legend.
I don't remember Thriller Bark. It's my weakest arc in terms of memory.
That's where Nicole and I gave up on the anime. I was
It's
like,
it's a good place to give up on the anime. It sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think the anime did it justice.
I agree. It's fine.
Too much funny.
Also, last episode of Secret Invasion comes out tomorrow. So
Don't bother watching it. I'll tell you what happens.
No one is excited for it.
Next week, I'll tell you.
We will dedicate time to talk about Secret Invasion because I wrote a whole diatribe in our thing.
There's one salvation for Secret Invasion is if Sam Jackson starts talking about Capital One credit cards the entire episode. I will sit and watch every second of it, and then I will go open a Capital One credit card just for you, Sam. Don't disappoint me.
I'm so disappointed. I kind of want to stay up till midnight just to. I just want to.
You
know.
need till 3 a.m. because it's midnight Pacific. Is when they release.
Okay, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure. I think the first part of Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 should end tomorrow or today at some point. I forgot when the episodes come out.
Wait.
What? So it's split into parts. Season 2 is split into parts.
There's
so
only
the first
been
part
2 or 3 episodes.
There've been 3. So the last one, 4th episode, is the end of the first part, and it should be either tomorrow or Thursday.
That's horseshit.
Sometime this week.
Mhm.
God damn it.
So 8 episodes total for part 1 and 2?
So it's like what I'm assuming they're doing. Like the first season is 25 episodes, so they're probably doing like 4, another 4, another 4, another 4.
Gotcha.
I'm alright if they're focusing on quality, but man, like the episodes are like 20 minutes. The episodes are like 25 minutes.
It's quality. That was a quality episode. If you didn't see the last one,
actually, I think one of the episodes was close to 40 minutes, but
I think the first episode was like 40 minutes.
It was one of those longer ones, but god damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But but it's quality. So I highly encourage you to watch it if you.
Is there any time spaced out between part 1 and part 2?
Yeah, this looks like what they're doing. I'm assuming Mappa needs time to work on a bunch of stuff, and they have a lot of projects. So to keep their animators from dying, they probably are splitting things out.
What else are they working on? Are they doing Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, they're doing One Punch Man season 2. They're working on One Punch Man season 3, Chainsaw Man season 2. They're doing something else. Like there's a I forgot the manga that they're working on, but they're doing that. They have a lot on their plate. Mappa is like the go-to studio right now, so they're doing everything.
Yeah, because they're not shit like the rest.
Basically, yeah.
Bones is good. It's just the Demon Slayer story fell off real hard. I mean,
Yeah.
Sam tried to warn me, and I was
I
like,
told you.
"This is amazing!" Like it gets right into the action. This last season of Demon Slayer picks up, and I was like, "This is exactly what I want. I have a baby. I don't have time. Let's get down to business." And then it's like 5 episodes later, and I'm like, nothing has happened. Like it's like
Is it
it's
My
like
Hero
old
bad?
school.
It's worse.
It's worse. It's like old school Naruto Bleach filler arc where they're just standing around talking to the villains, and then you get a whole episode of some backstory for one of the I forget what the captains are called, but
2 of the Hashira get their own episode for backstory. It's starting to get rushed. This is where they start to rush through.
Which anime has the worst filler? Go.
Boruto.
Boruto is filler.
Boruto is not a real anime, man. He's talking
The
about
entire thing is filler. It's literally the entire thing.
Okay, so if you're talking about OG, what we would consider anime,
Dragon Ball has pretty shitty filler.
Yeah, Dragon Ball filler is terrible. Like Goku and Piccolo learn to drive.
but that was one episode. It was one episode. It wasn't an arc.
There's not as much.
Naruto, I think Naruto
has
takes
filler
the
arcs.
cake for me.
Bleach has too much filler.
Yeah.
I feel like they ran out of
Yes.
material so quickly.
Bleach had a filler arc that was half the duration of the actual season.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because Tite Kubo and his editor clashed a lot, so they had to come up with content in the universe without him. So that's the writers just coming up with.
But one of those filler arcs is better than one of the main arcs. For
The
Bleach.
Bound arc was supposed to be in a main arc.
There
by the
was
way.
a good Bleach filler arc. I remember that. Naruto, I don't think I ever gave a fuck about anything. And I will say, One Piece filler pisses me off because they just blend it right in. Like a lot of times, one of the filler arcs was with the Fox dude. They just tacked on another 4 episodes onto the end of that shit where I was watching with Nicole and I was like, I don't think this is filler, but this really fucking feels like filler. And it was just because they tacked on an extra 4 episodes onto the end of one of the arcs. They were like, we're gonna do the tournament again, and I was like,
the first part was real. The second part was filler, and then the last episode was not filler. It was very funny.
There are episodes in Wano now that are half filler, half real.
Half real, so you have to watch it.
You have to watch it.
One Piece pissed me off for that reason.
It's very funny.
And there was 3 episodes that were all recap. If I'm actually in Japan, sitting there waiting every day till 10 p.m. to watch this crap, I'm gonna be so pissed off. Oh, I just wasted my whole night waiting.
Especially
to watch
because
this.
7 minutes is the intro alone. Out of your 24 minutes, you get the recap, and then
they keep pushing an episode back to they keep pushing back the date of the big Luffy transformation. But whatever.
Moving on. That's enough. That's your anime blog. I think we should.
Let's do before we do Barbbenheimer. Let's talk about blockbusters, if you don't mind. I got some thoughts. So we're never ever gonna see the era of blockbuster that we saw previously. Consumers are just not interested anymore in going to theaters.
Be more
Theaters are an
specific.
event.
What do you mean about what we saw
So
previously?
the era of peak MCU, the era of Jurassic Park making $1 billion, all that other crap. Number one, we lost access to China for most movies, right? Not a lot of China releases that are happening for Western films. That industry has propped itself up with local films, and then the foreign films that come through are far and few between, like our Avatar. That's because they like James Cameron.
Didn't Spider-Man No Way Home just make $2 billion or something like that?
They missed out on making $2 billion because of the lack of a China release, because it had the Statue of Liberty in it. They don't let other countries' state iconography be visible in movies. So no Captain Marvel either.
Christ.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's important to them. So,
Christ.
you know, the studios don't get a cut. Besides, they don't make a lot of profit from their movies overseas, right? They get like a 20% take that come through. So those numbers look nice, but realistically, they're not making bank, right?
Yeah, but
So
20% of 100 is still 20% or more than 20% of nothing.
That's true. I don't want people to think that, oh, they made like 500 million or 800 million in China. That's like $100 million. Like, that's not, that's
No, but it was still
pre-distribution.
20% is still a piece of the pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
I think that, to me, the issue is like these stars aren't the same draws that they used to be. Like, you throw Will Smith in a movie, he's going to make it's a blockbuster. It's going to make
They did
millions.
Yeah.
It's easy now. No one cares if like no one went to see Barbie because of Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. They went to see. No, fine. Besides Sean, but they went to see Barbie because of the IP. Like, people love Barbies. Now they want to see what this movie's about. And then like a lot of people went to the movie not knowing what it was about.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a kids movie, but there's a gang of kids that's in there. Like,
they're having the same problem that WWE has. WWE has had the problem for years. After The Rock, after John Cena, after all these people, or Hulk Hogan with his brief cinematic experience, had this like thing where they became larger than wrestling. Right? They became superstars. They became icons in their own, whatever it is. And then they would leave wrestling, right? They would go on to do other things. So the company didn't want to ever elevate a superstar to naturally become, as crazy popular as Stone Cold Steve Austin, as The Undertaker, as all these other people, right? They wanted the company to be first. They want you to look at the brand, look at the imaging, and then say, company first, and this is a product we're delivering to you. That's why they've not really been able to kind of have that breakout crazy star. I mean, look at all the wrestlers that are like acting now. You're looking at wrestlers from like that started like 15, 20 years ago, right? You're not having brand new, fresh people come through and really break into the scene. And that's because they always try to bring people down. They want that first. Same thing with Disney, right? And they want the Disney brand to be front and center. They want people to be like, ooh, put Disney on, do this, do that, right? The Disney Channel was a lost leader. It's like the Costco hot dog and soda, $1.50. It cost them more money to do all of that.
They said they would never change that price, by the way. The Costco CEO said hot dogs staying.
It's a corporate
like Arizona iced tea.
But it says it's $1 on the can.
No, but even with the Disney Channel, I wasn't watching Disney Channel because the Disney Channel was like, you got stars on here. You got like Even Stevens. I love these people that are,
because they cared about quality writing. They wanted to get the best output, the best, whatever is out there. And folks were committed to it. And, they had jobs and they wanted to do all these things. Like, why do you think Everybody Loves Raymond ran for 9 seasons, right? People like that stuff. They want to watch, they want to do that stuff.
Writing.
No, it's not because of the writing. But at the end of the day, they wanted to draw viewers. They wanted to do those things. Nobody cares about that anymore. All they care about is cutthroat profits. They always have. But in the last like 5 or 6 years, it's been more blatant and more out there that these corporations do not give a shit about you. They don't care about what you're interested in, what you're invested in. They only care about the raw numbers, and they will cut anything you have. So why should I invest myself in a 20-episode series knowing that there's no end, there's going to be a cliffhanger, and it's eventually going to get canceled? And then a year later, it's going to be off the platform, and I can't even buy it anywhere. So why should I invest my time and my money into something that doesn't matter ultimately? I'm not, right? And that's just the nature of how the business has become, because it just doesn't make sense for them to do what they do. And they were all waiting for Zaslav to do his thing so they can just start doing stuff on their own without getting chastised for it. It's become the norm. And that's ultimately what they want. They want to be able to have an algorithm tell them how to make profit and how to replace their background actors. So that's my spiel.
Yeah.
Well, it must be very bleak being in your world, Fu. But I agree with.
I think with blockbusters these days, a lot of the ones that really excel depend on hype, like public hype, like build on social media. For instance, like with Barbbenheimer, like if you didn't have that massive social media campaign driving it, I don't think it would have racked up the numbers that it did. Because these are both 2 fantastic films. Like every single review points to that. Every single person who's come out has said like this is like life changing in so many different ways. I'm sure it's a bit hyperbolic, but still fantastic. But if you were to like separate those films and they didn't have like the whole Barbbenheimer big social media blitz with like everyone talking about getting dressed up and like the really grim 1940s clothes or like the really big pink and fuchsia look, I don't think it would have made as much. I don't think it would have been as big. So I feel like if you look back to all the big blockbuster successes over the past few years with like Into the Spider-Verse, Top Gun, Spider-Man No Way Home, every single one of them had this big social media blitz, which kind of like drew a bigger even draw than any of the trailers even did, because everyone was talking about it, everyone was excited for it, and they made it seem like this big event. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that with like the MCU, all their bigger movies were like big events too, where it's like Infinity War, Endgame. It felt like it didn't feel like you were going to like a movie theater. It felt like you were going to a stadium. Mm-hmm. Whereas like everyone was hyped, everyone was going to go crazy when like the big characters appeared on screen. And unless that film has that draw these days, I don't think it succeeds, because if you don't have that stadium like feel or like that big community sort of feeling of like, oh, everyone's going out to see it, I got to dress up, I got to do all of this, I got to get really hyped because I can't risk FOMO or it feels like it's going to be amazing. It's just going to be, oh, okay, I don't need to see this in the theater. I just can watch it at home and it pops up on streaming, either something I can pay for, I don't have to pay for parking at the theater, or I can just wait for it to hit like Netflix, Hulu, or whatever for free.
Which I think is always going to be a factor. I mean, that's always going to, now that exists, it can't not exist. That's always going to take a cut.
Absolutely.
It's like creating a larger than life experience. Like, why did we all go see Across the Spider-Verse? Because we knew it was going to be amazing in IMAX, right? Yeah. We wanted to get in on the story. We were invested in it. It's good. It was going to deliver 100%, right? It was a guarantee.
It's also why we want to see Oppenheimer. That's also why I went to see Barbie.
I think sequels are a little bit different, and I think you almost have to look at the MCU in a different lens than blockbusters in general. But we went to go see Spider-Verse because the first one was so fucking good, and we had no indication to think that this one wouldn't be anything but from what we had seen. So it's a little bit hard to compare that to Barbie, which had no legs to stand on, or Oppenheimer, which was basically just like Christopher Nolan was propping it up, and it was about it.
I want to see that.
Tenet wasn't. Tenet wasn't like a draw. It was not. It was.
You stop.
I would not say that. Like when you look back at Christopher Nolan's library of movies, you're not going to remember Tenet in the same way that you remember the.
Also, Tenet's not. To be fair to Tenet, when Tenet came out, they had the whole COVID issue, right? And then they released it.
Don't make excuses for it. They could have had the Black Plague, and Tenet still would have been shit.
Nah, don't do that. Tenet's fantastic.
I think all of this is to say this. None of this takes away from Foo's points. 100% agree that it's all about profits at the end of the day. They're being less elusive about that being the main driving factor. I think that we're in late stage capitalism, boys. Like the people at the top look at Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg,
who's a dumbass,
and they're like, how do we beat that guy? Like Bob Iger and fucking all the other top CEOs, they don't give a fuck. They want to make sure that their shareholders are happy, and they want to take advantage of what they have at their fingertips to do that. The movies are a resource, and they're going to do that at the end of the day. So I think that that's correct. But what I think is the interesting part of this conversation is, how do these filmmakers who actually care about the art, like, I know that the director and writer of Barbie and Oppenheimer are definitely in it for some financial gain as well, but I'm sure that they have a love for their craft in a way that like the C-suite does not, right? So how do they greenlight these projects knowing everything that Fu just said, right? Like
the Flash got a standing ovation. I wouldn't trust that community either.
Who gave the Flash a standing ovation?
Every single one of those early screenings with like the focus groups, they always get standing ovations.
Those are lies. No. They were lying.
Justice League got standing ovations allegedly.
No.
The Joss Whedon version. I promise you, if you look up any article for an early screening, they always say, "Oh, like Justice League got a 5-minute standing ovation." It's all bullshit.
It was an early ovation to run out of the theater.
Yeah. That wasn't the end. I gotta pee. Yeah,
but so look at Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? Look at the movies that Apple is generating. They're like
Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think got way more critical acclaim than it made financially. I would.
Oh, we got to. We'll check that money.
But
I also think there was
I
a
wanna
big
see the
social
money.
media push for that because everybody was talking about it online.
yeah.
But I think that's after people saw it, like, yo, this is great. And then there's a push.
But the movie
Sam
had to
was
be
right.
that good to get there. You can't
Look,
be.
Yeah.
You can't be good. You have to be must
Yeah.
see.
Sam is
movie of
right.
the decade.
It's
Or be viral.
It's Apple and Amazon is the future, right? You're gonna
Right,
look for
yeah.
people with capital are gonna start financing movies, not these
Right.
studios.
Because
Why should
Apple,
a writer deal with all this crap when they could just get the
Right.
money and do what they want?
and Apple and Amazon, since they have like cash on hand, they don't care.
They're
So
playing a
they'll
different
make
game.
they'll make the Tetris, which I heard was absolutely fantastic. The with the Flower Moon movie, the Scorsese
With
movie that's coming out.
Scorsese, yep.
Like they'll make that. Like they just have money. Everything that Amazon has put on their platform is like legitimately fantastic. Just
That's
nothing
Apple.
but good.
All those things are Apple that you just said.
No, sorry. I know. I just didn't name the Amazon things, like, because most of what I think of for Amazon is like shows, like Invisible, like The Boys, critically acclaimed, also like rave reviews. Everyone loves them. I can't think of any of the movies that they finance. But yeah, like
yeah, there's definitely some, but like their big blockbuster hits are like Miss Maisel, Jack Ryan, and then
Jack
they have
Ryan
the
was
animated.
good.
yeah,
Jack
it's
Ryan
like
is
shows.
apparently still good.
Oh, Jack Ryan was a movie.
And then The Boys, obviously Invincible, which probably has a smaller audience, but is still a fantastic fucking show.
I don't think it does anymore. If we're being
Invincible's pretty big. It's pretty
yeah.
big.
Okay.
And look at these are like great writers, great directors, like great vision. They just let these people work, and it's like they just don't care if they lose the money or not. But they just been hitting. Everything's been a hit.
Yeah.
They're not missing. And then you go over to Paramount Plus, and then you get Halo. Like, this is bullshit.
Amazon and Apple are playing a totally different game. Like the amount of money that they can throw at this, it can lose a little bit of money as long as it doesn't lose too much money. It's fine. And if they hit gold with something in the way that Apple has, and I think to a lesser degree that Amazon has, it'll be fucking fantastic. And the only reason that I say that Apple's doing it better right now is they have like major hits. Like Ted Lasso is like a household name at this point. You know what I mean? Like that
show
Scorsese.
is just stupid.
I love Ted Lasso. That is the best fucking show of all time, dude. You could just sit there and just feel fucking good about your life.
It's so boring.
It's a
You're
feel
boring.
good show.
It's a feel good show.
I want something that's going to be like people like crying or dying in the background. And it's like, how will we resolve this?
He wants Fast and the Furious.
Nobody
for
dies
Ted
in the
Lasso
Fast and the
season 10.
Furious.
No one has the best Furious. They
Ted
just come
Lasso
back.
season 10, they go to space. They play soccer in space.
But at some point, maybe these like Disney and Paramount and Universal, maybe these other studios will realize, like, yo, we just need to put effort into these stories and put out quality content, and then the money will come organically. Because that's what's happening.
There's too much risk in that. They go with the safe bet. They go
Yeah, but
with
these
what
things
is
aren't safe
really
bets
safe
anymore.
bets anymore.
They're not safe bets anymore because they're losing. Look at Black Adam lost how much money? Flash lost how much money? It's not a safe bet anymore.
I think that's good.
You know
I
it's
think
bad
we
when
need
like your major MCU tentpole films like Ant-Man Quantumania is just bombing hilariously.
Although
Like,
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion shouldn't be called that. It's not great. For real.
MCU used to be a way to just guaranteed print money. Now it's just like people are exhausted by it.
I've seen episodes of
Because it's bad.
It had a major dip in quality. It's like there have been some hits here and there, but they need home runs. Like it hasn't been something that like draws people back in and say, you know what, I'm hyped for the MCU again.
Because VFX is rushed. The writers don't invest in it. Why should I invest in something that I don't care about or that someone's going to rewrite 50 times?
Yeah.
Right? Most of these writers, Multiverse of Madness is the worst. They said that the script was rewritten 28 times
in like 3 months or something stupid.
Have you guys ever seen Popstar?
Nah.
So there's like it's like a fake like music band. It's like some guy was like, my last album was a hit. It was Andy Samberg who did this, right? So he's like, my last album was a hit. So this time to make sure it worked out well, I hired 100 producers for each line of my album. That's basically what they're doing here for this MCU. It's stupid.
Yeah, all these movies are written by committee. They don't trust the directors or the writers to just have a vision and go with it.
It's WWE. That's what it is, right? WWE doesn't want superstars going off on a script. They don't want them making their own name. They don't want to make them be above the business. Disney and MCU is the business. They want that to be number one in people's tier. And then after that, maybe the actors, because actors leave. Actors to pay negotiations. Robert Downey Jr. cost them a penny, right? Because of the way he negotiated his contract. They don't want that to happen ever again. They want actors to be replaceable. They want the brand to be above everything else, and they will dilute the quality until it's like nothing. It'll be like Dragon Ball Evolution bad, and they'll put it out, and people will still consume it, and they'll lie to their investors and say, "Hey, this made me much."
Yeah. The ironic thing about that is like the MCU actually needs a focal point, like Robert Downey Jr. was, because right now there's no cohesion, there's no person to really root for and get behind. It's like they have a few stars here and there, and they're great in their own right. There's no.
Reed Richards is who it needs to be.
It should have been the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is leading the Fantastic Four. I mean, by the time the Fantastic Four gets here, no one's going to care.
Jonathan Majors is not going to be Reed Richards. I'll tell you that much.
But maybe John Boyega will. But I think when Feige's
done with
Disney. He's done with Disney.
He's done with Star Wars Disney, yeah. But he just did They Clone Tyrone. That movie's fantastic. Yeah. So he's on the rise. But I think like when Feige's not overseeing a bunch of stuff like he was before. I think specifically for the MCU, right? And I think this is why they hired James Gunn over there for the DCU. You need that figure to like guide all these things and like have this cohesive story and someone with a passion for it, because all that MCU stuff when Feige was running it, you could tell, all right, there's a very clear passion for these projects. They're very comic focused. Like the fact that Secret Invasion is not even a comic story, it makes me mad. I only watched it because I've read the comic. Like this is the only reason I want to see this, and to see that y'all just put this out and like don't even read the comic, just do you. Like, no, I don't want to. That's Foo's point. Like, this is bullshit. I don't want to watch any of this.
And I was thinking about this the other day. They have definitely taken liberties with the names of the comics that they draw from in the past. So, like Civil War, it's a very different story. The movie from the comic book. At the end of the day, it's just two groups of superheroes fighting each other. That's the only thing that it really has in common with the story, right?
No, they threw the chords in there, and that. Well,
yeah, but wasn't it about revealing like their identities and stuff like that? Was like the catalyst for it, like
Spider-Man and a bunch of other heroes had their identities.
Like there was, it was a pretty huge.
That's the chords.
Yeah. The accord in the comics is called the Superhuman Registration Act.
And you had to unmask, which was like the big disagreement that Cap and
it's still Cap and Iron Man
had with each other, right?
So, and
that was the big thing. In this one, it's government oversight. I don't know. I feel like they played a little fast and loose with that title compared to the source material. And then Infinity War, right? Like that was a pretty different thing from like the whole Infinity.
What were you saying,
saga?
In regard to what?
You were saying something earlier. I didn't hear that.
Oh no, it's not.
No, but the feel is the same, right? It may not be. I don't know the exact comic story, right? But if you make a story based on the comic and using the world that you've already created, that's completely fine. Right, and that's what you should do, and that's not what they're doing.
I'll agree with you that Secret Invasion, I think, is the largest deviation from the source material. It's basically just that it's a show about Skrulls, and
it's completely random.
Yeah,
it's like to the original point with the blockbusters. It's like, how do you expect me to trust the process and invest myself when it feels like there is no process anymore? It's just very paint by numbers, very generic. You're not even really trying the way you did during the Infinity Saga.
Well, and to Foo's point. They are just capitalizing on what they can. They know if they slap this label on it, they'll get some views that they can then monetize and report back to their shareholders that like, look, people are still watching Disney Plus, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I want the shit out of it on Twitter. Oh, excuse me, X.
It's like don't give me Target if it's like don't give me Walmart if I'm expecting Target, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Kirkland, not Great Value.
I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I think one counterpoint to Fu's serious fatalistic views on Hollywood is there are those everything everywhere all at onces. There are the surprise, like out of nowhere Barbbenheimer. I mean, basically just internet took over and just ran the social media for that. I don't know if that was the original like marketer's idea was to let that go, but like that movie that if they did pay some amount of money to get that started, that campaign paid for itself 100 times over with all the memes and shit. You could not go on Reddit or Twitter or Instagram without seeing some Barbenheimer shit. So that gives me hope that some other executives and producers will see these one-off successes on riskier IPs.
You can
like the rise of independent films.
Yeah,
right,
maybe. Yeah.
Right. What's the other one that just came out about like the child, whatchamacallit, black market, child trafficking movie.
I forgot the name. It's with Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, that one's like popping off right now, and that was a smaller studio independent film.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that was popping off. That's the deep trench shit. The right wing. They're
That's
super.
a psyop. That movie's a psyop.
Even the Scream reboot was like got great reviews and it did really well. It was like on Paramount Plus.
I really enjoyed the Scream sequel trilogy. It was really good.
I just don't, into something that I don't remember who said it, but like these reboots are not like guaranteed moneymakers anymore. And I think that was like a trend for a while. Disney being the biggest culprit of like we're remaking Little Mermaid. And
live action.
I think that's starting to be like, okay, maybe
Snow White.
Interestingly, there are very few things in media today that are like guaranteed hits.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even now, like name recognition doesn't really matter all that much anymore, especially if you had like previous installments within that name brand that were either mediocre or just straight up trash.
Brad Pitt is like in some like just okay stuff. Tom Cruise is probably like the last, like if Tom Cruise is in a movie, you're like, damn, why is Tom Cruise in that movie?
Yeah.
Will Smith. Will Smith is another
like James Cameron,
Will Smith,
Christopher Nolan.
Yep, the directors for sure. But even some of those, like Ridley Scott did that weird ass movie about like the Ark or some shit like that. Like, whatchamacallit, who was I about to say? Will Smith did that weird movie with his son.
That movie's terrible.
Where they came back in time to
After
Earth
Earth.
or some
After Earth.
Yeah.
It's not even back in time. That shit is trash.
That's shitty sci-fi.
Yeah.
So it's hard to.
That's like Battlefield Worth. Same thing.
Yeah. Will Smith was in some stinkers, so I don't know. Be interesting to see what carries it on. What will be the next like guaranteed thing? It's probably going to be like cam girls pretending to be NPCs for an hour and a half, and people will pay $10 to go see it.
That's where you get those whales, right? Is that what you said?
Gang.
I'm trying to see.
That's where the whales come in. Yeah. Some kind of movie where girls pretend to be NPCs in video games and there are microtransactions throughout where the girl will interact with you while you sit in the movie theater.
I would pay money.
I would watch where you step in that theater.
I would pay money to watch a movie or TV show where, like, if someone's like wearing something or eating something, I was like, you know what? I want to know, where did you guys get this particular tablecloth? And like, I could click on it and it'd be like, ooh, this was bought through Amazon, and I would click on it. I could buy that tablecloth, not
Google
that specific
and
one.
Amazon are getting a boner right now just listening to you.
Amazon kind of has something like that with IMDb, where it's like when you see an actor on screen, you can immediately go to IMDB. So
Amazon Prime does that, and it's amazing. The X-ray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need that for like items. Like, I want to know, like, where do I get those shoes, or where are they eating right now? What restaurant? I want to go there. Like, you know, those are the
are probably like killing themselves trying to figure out how to do exactly what you're describing.
I'm ready for it. Give me those movies for free, though. I'm not going to pay for that movie.
Talk about late stage capitalism.
Advertisement.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Any thoughts?
I don't know.
Nah.
We'll see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, definitely. Barbie's amazing. I love Barbie. Can't wait to see Oppenheimer and IMAX.
And then we will do a Secret Invasion recap next week. Catch up on the debacle that is the MCU right now.
We're not doing spoilers free. Just be aware.
Yeah, I don't think we
gonna
need
have to
spoilers.
saving you time.
Literally
Or
nothing has
not attend.
happened up to this point with that show, so yeah, you don't need to worry about it.
I was enjoying it in the beginning. No, man.
First 2 episodes, I gave it a chance. I was like, okay, this could go somewhere, and then spoiler alert, it didn't.
You know, it's crazy when the big reveal. I won't say with who, but you know, the big scroll reveal. No one cared. No one. Everyone roasted it on social media.
We'll talk about it next week. Catch up on Secret Invasion. It was so good to catch up with y'all. Let's be here same time next week. Everybody on board?
Definitely.
Cool.
Hey everyone.